Hey guys, welcome back. It's Chad. We're at Little Life Machining and we're looking at wheel hubs, specifically on single and dually, let's go with Dodge rear end. The only difference in the axles themselves really is the hub. There's a dually hub and a single axle hub. Basically what we're going to get into here is hub-centric wheels. Hub-centric wheels carry the load onto the hub. Now, if you're doing any kind of modification, so say you're going to take a single wheel, put it on a dually, there's some things you need to know about hub-centric wheels. Also, if you're going to run a bigger tire with a wheel adapter and space those wheels out, or have to run a spacer between your duals in order to gain the gap you need before the tires start rubbing into each other on the insides, these are things you got to take into account. And then trying to keep everything hub-centric, you run into some issues. What we're going to get into now is talking about where your rim rides and why hub-centricity, hub-centric, let's go with that, I guess, and how hub-centric hubs and wheels mate together in order to carry that load onto the hub. Because if you're not carrying it onto the hub, you're carrying it onto the studs, and then you're going to end up having loose wheel nuts on your spacers even, or you're going to end up having stud shear off. Yeah, that's fun, right? Let's take a look at the difference between the two hubs. This one here is off of a dually. This one here is off of a single axle. You can already see the height difference right away, the offset difference here. This one, I believe, yeah, the rotors bolt to the back of the dually, whereas they sit over top of this one. If you want to run dual wheels on a single axle, you have to space them out to the right spacing, which is you're gonna end up needing, I think it's right 2-inch spacer maybe. So there's your 2-inch spacer. Problem being, this lip down here, right there, and on this one right here, you can see that line that goes across here. That's where your rim rides. That is essentially what locates your rim to your hub in order to carry the weight through onto this piece, not onto these. And it goes with the same here. So if you're going to run duals on a single, right away you lose this lip where your rim is supposed to sit, and now you're going to be riding on studs, especially once you put this on, because then what ends up happening is you essentially have nothing here to bolt and create a hub-centric wheel. The only thing that's really going to locate you is this here. When this slides into here, that's going to give you that bit of a ring here where it's going to look like it's hub-centric, but it's not. It's actually off by about 30 thou or so. So what I've done in the past for people is I make this ring. Now this ring's got a 30 thou shoulder right in there, all the way around it, and it's not a whole lot. This gives you the OD that you need in order to run your hub-centric, so that would sit on there, get pressed down into place. Then your axle would go in and hold this in place. Once this is held in place, your rim's going to ride on this aluminum carrier, basically. It's not ideal by no means, but it still puts a lot more of the weight onto this piece, which is sandwiched between your hub and your axle, than it would on your studs. So that gives you a rundown on single axle turning it into a dual on a Dodge, let's say, like on the AAM axles. So that's what these are out of. That's not ideal, like I said. You could make the spacer out of steel, which would be no big deal. It would probably hold up a little better. And I mean, what ends up happening is this spacer does end up sliding over this a little bit, which does give you your hub-centric. That's what's going to keep your rim riding on this a lot better. Again, once that's clamped with the axle, it actually does a pretty decent job. The one that we're running into now is that my customer brought me these hubs. He had to buy a single axle rear end, make it back into a dually because he couldn't find a dually rear end. Ended up finding dually hubs eventually. Now we have to do the conversion on these because his tire rim combination of what he wants to run is wider than stock. Now if he were to put those two duals together on the back end, they'd be too tight, and if you did tow or put a load on the back end, your two tires are going to come together and touch, probably burn the sidewalls out of the tires. So he has to run a spacer in between the two tires. So his first rim will run down in here and would catch this, but then he has to put a spacer on that, so his second rim's going to be running up here, which again, it's neck down about 30-40 thou, so it's not going to be able to be hub-centric or running on the hub. So I've come up with a plan to be able to make the whole hub hub-centric. It will make it a little harder putting rims on and off, but at least then wherever the rim lies, it will still be riding on the hub. What we're going to end up doing is popping the studs out. Once we have the studs popped out, I'm actually going to take this down probably about 100 thou on the OD. Then we have a piece of mechanical tubing. We're going to make that a sweat fit, press that on top of that, and then turn it down again, and that will give us our hub centricity the whole way through, and he'll be able to run his rims on the hub on both locations, and the weight will be on the hub and not on the studs themselves. I pulled the studs, stuck it in the standard modern lathe. It's dialed within a thou on this surface and then on this surface to keep everything concentric, because that's what we're looking for. And we're ready to take a cut. All right, let's get the lathe flashed up and start taking some cuts. All right, we're going to touch off there and get our measurement. Okay, so X is going to be 4.683. Now our theoretical goal is to hit about 4.567. So that's not too bad. We're not going to cut into this face here too bad. We're not going to get down to these, so we should be all right. This final cut is cleaning everything right up nice. Alright, now that we got that done, I'm not going to take much off of this, just enough so that I don't cut myself on it, but I still want to have it blend nice when I'm done. So. So we're going to leave that set up in standard modern. I'm going to set up the Mitchell lathe here, Mama lathe, and we're going to set these rings in it. We're going to clamp those in, dial them up, and bore the ID to about a 3-4 thou press fit. I don't want to take it out of the standard modern because if this works and they just heat up and slide on really nice and grab real good hold, then I can machine them in the standard modern without having to reset up. Alright, so we got this set up in the Mama lathe and we're going to take a bore out of it. It's all dialed up. So I was looking into the machinist handbook. A good in-between average fit for this would probably be 3 thou, 2/10. I think 4 thou would be too much. I'd be really fighting and it probably wouldn't work out. So we're going to bore this to about 3 thou under. Okay, so we got her all bored out to about just probably 3.2 actually, I think is what it worked out to. And we added a nice radius here. So that should sit flush up against the back, and this should press on nice and tight. And that's why they call it a sweat fit. Yeah, because she's a sweaty job. So, anyway, we got that on there. That worked out awesome. I couldn't be happier with that. Once this cools down, and I cool down, then we're going to skim that one, bring it down to size, and then we can start on the other one. So, this is going really well. I'm happy with it. Great little project. So, stay tuned. Okay, so it finally cooled down. It's got a really nice grab on that, so we're going to face this off and turn it down to size. And then we're good to go. Let's get this cranked up and get some work done. That's all it is, but now at least our rims will ride on the wheel hub the whole way, and that worked out really well. I'm happy with that. Alright, that does it for this one. It was a really good project. I wanted to highlight it because I don't think anyone's really ever thought to do it this way. And if they have, let me know, put it down in the comments. But it's going to allow both these dually rims to ride on the hub, keep the rims hubcentric, keep the rims from getting loose and wearing out or possibly coming off, and keep your tires and rims from riding on just a wheel adapter. So this was for a good friend of mine. I'm glad we got it done. It took a long time to get to them. It's just been a crazy summer. Things have really picked up around here, so it's really hard for me to get videos out like I really want to. But this was a really good project to get a video of, so I'm glad I did it. Anyway, until next time, like, subscribe, tell your mother, tell your sister, tell everyone. We're going to have a lot of really neat content coming up probably. I haven't forgot about the wrecker. It's probably going to be this winter's project to try and finish up. I really want to get it done. I have moved it around a little bit. But yeah, if you stuck around this long, I really appreciate it. And until next time, see you later, Buzzy. Thanks for watching.